life happens after diagnosis. There's happiness after diagnosis. There's miracles after diagnosis, but we have to get through the hard part to experience it. Hi, my name is Nadia Smith. I'm a breast cancer survivor, thriver, and now patient advocate, diagnosed at the age of 33. I was a fairly healthy person. I was training for a half marathon. I had run about 5 half marathons. I was in perfect health. I was very active in the health and fitness community as well. So I was thriving like the best time. And bam, a shock of my life that I never expected. Around the time I was doing some very extensive training, and I was seeing my primary care physician quite often as we changed my diet. I went from vegetarian to vegan, and I noticed a pea-sized lump in my breast. It was very small, something tiny. There was no leakage, no skin tissue changes in my breast, only this small little lump that I wanted someone to check out. Over time, the consistency changed. It went from like a little 2-centimeter lump that was squishy to something that was more firm, like a bean. I made the decision to see a breast surgeon to have a biopsy on the mass. I was just like, let's get whatever this is out of me so I can move on. Thinking that this would be a cosmetic procedure to get it removed and life would go on as normal. But after the biopsy, we realized that we needed to do something further. All the margins were cancerous, so we went further for diagnosis. My breast surgeon actually called me when we received the pathology, and she wanted me to come into the office. And I was a little anxious when I received the call, and she mentioned, I usually wouldn't do this over the phone, but we've had several conversations before, and I know that you are a woman of faith and you have been equipped for this. It became real to me that this diagnosis is going to change my life forever when I met with a fertility specialist. He questioned me about whether I wanted a family or if it's something that I had thought about or considered. I went through the process of egg harvesting, and I had what they would consider a failed egg harvesting. Every day I replayed that moment, every single day of hearing that I had the failed egg harvesting. That was when I realized this diagnosis, this cancer may change what I envision for my life and for my future. We talk about the one moment when you realize it was all worth it or it all makes sense. And that was finding out that I was expecting that I was having my son, because it's something I thought I would never experience. We talked about that failed egg harvesting. So a part of me just didn't think about it. You just went on day by day, and it was in the back of my mind, but if it didn't happen, it happened. And there's a way to be a parent and have a family in other ways. And I became open to that. And so finding out was ultimately shock. And there was waves of it, because that doubt creeps me in, like, oh, is this going to be a healthy pregnancy? So at the beginning, I will say that I wasn't ecstatic because the diagnosis rushed back. I ended up having my son via C-section after being in the hospital for close to a week. That moment when you hear that little cry, and then I wanted to do skin to skin as soon as possible. I was like, don't wash him off, you don't have to do anything. I remember telling him, like, we made it. Like, both of us, we made it. That was the first thing I said to my son, we made it. And that was just a moment, like, I don't remember who was in the room. I don't remember what was happening, but like time stood still. Grayson is my hope, right? So I get teary-eyed when I talk about my son, but he was the rainbow at the end. So you think, I could never get to this place. When is it going to be over? It's never going to be over, because Advocacy happened. So it's a good not over, right? I'm on maternity leave, but I am never off from Advocacy. So this is happening right now. This is the job that never ends. I just thought, I'm gonna just survive this thing. I just wanna move on with life. And then I was put in a position where I realized that sharing my story was going to help someone else. And I saw the need. The more and more I became immersed into the community, I saw the need for people like me, for young women of color to say, I get it too. You know, it's not just the stereotype of what you see in the marketing campaigns of older women, you know, in rocking chairs with their grandchildren. That's not what's happening right now. Young women are being diagnosed in their 20s and even in their teens. I met a young lady as young as 19. People were sending me messages, young survivors, and they were feeling the same way. I don't know anybody, and I felt that shame that they were feeling through those messages in my inbox, and I felt like I couldn't be quiet anymore because I felt super isolated. I was always the youngest person in the doctor's office. I was often mistaken for a caregiver or someone that was picking up another patient. I slowly started to join virtual conversations and hear ladies talk until I was brave enough to go to an event for young survivors, and that's when I found out about organizations like Tigerlily and For the Rest of Us, and started to check them out and realize there's other people, there's a community. I would want my son to know, like, years after he looks at this, to know that his mother was persistent, his mother was resilient, his mother was faithful. And I hope that beyond my days here, that when you speak of me, when you speak of Nadia and the work that she's done and that she is doing is to serve others, that it is a selfless love for others that sparks everything I do. It motivates me to get up every day. I may not be wealthy compared to others, but I am wealthy and I am rich and I am in surplus and overflowing, so I can serve someone else, and that's where I receive my joy. And I hope at my eulogy someone says she serves relentlessly, right? I served out of an empty cup, I served out of an overflowing cup, but I served. I'm Nadia Smith, and this is my life, this is my legacy.